Good morning, writers. I'm Mrs. Tornquist, and I'm your second grade writing teacher this semester. I am going to be teaching you about personal narratives first. We're going to be talking about small moment stories, which you may remember from last year. We're going to start by studying some master authors. These authors have written incredible books about one small moment in their lives. By studying these books, we can be inspired to write our own small moment stories. Look at this, writers. Owl Moon. This story was written by Jane Yolen. She's a master writer, and she wrote about a time when her daughter went looking for owls late one night with her father. Jane felt that this one small moment was so special, this one owling trip that her husband and daughter shared in the woods, that she stretched it out across these 16 pages. We're not going to read this story right now. I'm just going to read the beginning to you, but I want you to notice that this one small moment took all these pages to share. The beginning goes like this. It was late one winter night, long past my bedtime, when Pa and I went owling. There was no wind. The trees stood still as giant statues. And the moon was so bright, the sky seemed to shine. Somewhere behind us, a train whistle blew, long and low, like a sad, sad song. Isn't that beautiful, writers? See how quiet and bright that night was and how precisely Jane describes it? From just those opening lines, we can already tell how special that particular experience was. I want to show you another book. This book is called The Leaving Morning. It was written by Angela Johnson, and it's a story about when her family moved. Listen to how it begins. The leaving happened on a soupy, misty morning when you could hear the street sweeper. The leaving, isn't that an unusual way to describe a moving day? Like Jane, Angela uses images and sounds to bring her first page to life. Writers, do you see how carefully these two master writers worded their opening lines? Even without hearing the rest of their books, it's clear these small moments have big meaning for these authors. Now, what I'm wondering now, and what I want you to think about, is how did these authors come up with their ideas? For example, how did Jane imagine a story about her husband taking their daughter owling one night? I'm going to give you a minute to think about that. Writers, I could tell you were thinking really hard just now, trying to figure out how these writers came up with their ideas. And I bet some of you noticed that both our authors recorded things that happened to them or happened to people they know. That's definitely one way authors get ideas. I bet some of you noticed too that these aren't just everyday moments. Angela didn't write about any old morning, and Jane didn't write about any old night. Both these authors picked moments that stood out from everyday ones. So, how did they do it? Perhaps they had a notepad to record little details that later became stories. What we're going to do today is think about things that are important to us so we can write great stories like Jane and Angela. What I'd like you to do is grab the notebook that was in your tote tray. You've already used it a couple times. It may look something like this. Yours may be a different color. What I'd like you to do is flip to the back, Yep, the very back page. That's where we're going to collect a few things in our minds for writing. And we today are going to make a heart map. A heart map is simply a heart, and inside that heart will be drawings, sketches, words of things that matter to you. So I'm making my heart map right now, and I know that my family is very important to me. So I am sure that I can think of some stories, some small moments that have happened in my family that might be interesting to write about. Something else that's important to me is I like to go on walks with our dog named Gracie. And off the top of my head, I can think of several times that Gracie has done crazy things during our walk. Something else that's important to me is my bike. So maybe I'll write about my bike. Again, not a perfect artist, but I'm just trying to get a few sketches down. Something else that's important to me that I want to include on my heart map is stories about my dad. My dad lives alone now because my mom has passed away. He's in his own house, and I spend a lot of time trying to help him and take care of him. So I bet I have a small moment about my dad. So what I've done simply is just draw a few sketches in a heart. This is my heart map, and these are ideas that I might be able to think of a small moment story to go along with. Starting with what is important to you is one way authors think about those small moments. So today, boys and girls, I am going to have you grab that notebook, go to the back, draw a heart the best you can, and jot down or sketch a few ideas of things that are important to you. We'll use those ideas as a springboard as we get started writing our own small moment stories in Writer's Workshop. Go get to work, writers.